Hello and welcome back to the Arsenal Blueprint. Now, I don't make many videos, but I feel like this is an important one. Yeah, the you know, I'm not in a studio or professionally set up. I'm just at home and I'm a football fan. I love this sport. This sport from a young child. I mean, this is a very old shot. I think it's 94, 95 season. I started supporting Arsenal in 1988, 89, when we dramatically won the league at Anfield, before the Premier League even began. I've seen Arsenal win 5 league titles, 2 of the old First Division ones, and 3 Premier Leagues. Hopefully, it'll be another one by come May. But, we have to see on that one. We've got to beat Brentford today and then beat Manchester City. Fingers crossed. But English football is. We should be so proud of what we've created in England, because it wasn't always like it is today with the money and English football in the 80s was in the doldrums, man. In 1985, a very sad and serious incident happened at Heysel in Belgium. I think it was the European Cup final. It wasn't called the Champions League. It was just the European Cup. And it was Liverpool versus Juventus, 1985 final. Michel Platini got the winner for Juventus, and they won 1-0. But before the final, there was massive crowd trouble. And the Liverpool fans surged the Juventus fans, and a wall collapsed. And loads of fans died. Yeah, loads of Italian fans died. They got crushed. Obviously Liverpool fans know what that's like with Hillsborough themselves. But what happened was we got a 5-year ban from Europe. Can you imagine that? Now, you couldn't, could you? I mean, and a lot of fans probably won't even know this, yeah? But we got, when I started supporting football, there was no European football. It wasn't really on the telly much. I think the first season of the Champions League was like 92, 93. They changed the format to the Champions League. And back in them days, it was just the champions. The first English team back in the European Cup was Arsenal in 92. We got knocked out by Benfica over 2 legs. I think it was 1-1 in Portugal, and they beat us 4-2 at Highbury. It was a crazy days. We just signed Ian Wright, the legend from Crystal Palace, with Kevin Campbell, with Alan Smith. We went on to win the Cup Winners' Cup. Arsenal have actually won something in Europe in '94. We beat a very good Parma team with Zola and Thomas Brolin. But what I'm talking about is football heritage, football memories. And the hard graft you have to do, English fans were a menace. And it almost feels like, we are not liked in Europe. We're not. And now they can't have a go at our fans because our fans are well behaved. There's no racism really in our stadiums compared to like Spain and maybe Italy, other big leagues where there's quite bad racism. An incident recently with Vinicius Jr. Getting racist abuse. Anyway, in Spain, you don't get that in England, right? England's changed, man, and the advent of the Premier League, players like Eric Cantona, Dennis Bergkamp, Gianfranco Zola, Jurgen Klinsmann, just to mention a few that came here from Italian leagues mainly and Spanish leagues and such forth, and they were a massive success, and it put the Premier League on the map. Our football has always been exciting, even before the foreign influence. Our football has always been like it is now. It's in your face. It's end to end. It's drama. exhilaration. It's just the best football league in the world. And it was before the Premier League, and now it's just insanely better because the quality's better. And then the TV companies start jumping on the bandwagon and investing in the Premier League. That we get, like in Germany, you can't have like foreign owners as such. Well, you can, but they can only own sort of half the club because the German fans have 50% or 49% or 51%. I'm not quite sure, something like that. And the owners who actually finance the club can only have it's a half and half situation. So the fans have shares and the owner has half. In England, it does not work like that. You can have shares in the club, but the owner's the owner at the end of the day. You can have a consortium, but we can have foreign investment, and we have had. We've had investment from Russia with Abramovich, big spender, Middle Eastern money with Manchester City, and of course American dollars, which my club is funded by. And it's massive business, man. We've just got a TV deal from the United States, and it's humongous. The Premier League gets around 10.5 billion pounds English sterling per season. It's more than all the other leagues combined. Yeah? Plus our foreign investment, our foreign owners have got cash to spend. So all that TV money, right? Not just from the United States, for all around the world. It's massive in India and China and Australia. It's huge everywhere. In Africa, South America, English football dominates, right? So we're good for money. And other leagues that don't have that is Serie A and La Liga. And really, I think La Liga, it's their own fault. I mean, they had a great product. They've got a great product in Barcelona, Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, and other teams like Valencia and stuff, and Seville and Villarreal.
Falsely and incorrectly viewed UEFA.
Rory Jennings there talking about the Super League, which urged me to talk about it. They had a great product. Spain, I mean, when I was growing up in the early 90s, Channel 4, which is a free terrestrial channel in England, had Serie A. And it was the big league. But I watched it and I thought, this is boring. Right? And I was surprised that all the best players were in Italy because the football was so boring to me. Like, I respect Italian football and their players. But I don't like watching Italian football. It's just not for me. I can watch an Italian side in the Champions League, mainly versus an English team, or if it's a big game, I'll watch it, like semi-final, final, but it's too slow. La Liga, faster, much better, technically awesome. I've grown up with that Barcelona team of Messi, Xavi, Iniesta, Ronaldinho. I mean, wow. And in Germany, sadly, this season, there's a title race. Union Berlin, there's loads of teams that could win the league in Germany this season, and it's really rare. Bayern Munich, I think they've won it 9 or 10 years on the trot. It's like Scotland, it's Rangers or Celtic. Celtic at the moment. It's boring. Boring. In England, there's real jeopardy. You're not guaranteed to win the Premier League. Yes, Manchester City won it 4 years out of the last 5, and only Liverpool have stopped them. Arsenal look like they could stop them this season. But there's real jeopardy in England. It's so much more interesting. Spain, I don't know. I think, La Liga has had a go at the Premier League recently about the money English teams are spending, like Chelsea, an outrageous, sick amount of money. But it's their money. if they want to spend it, let them spend it. If it's legal, it's legal. All this trouble with Manchester City's come out, maybe they've done stuff illegal. We will have to wait and see. But football fans in this country, unless you're a Man City fan, they pretty much convicted Man City already. They're guilty, and I think they're guilty. But we will wait and see. I feel sorry for the fans if they have done what they're accused of, which is basically cheating. I just feel sorry for the fans. You know, they don't deserve that. And, you know, it is what it is. It's a sad situation, and I think it's going to end bad for Manchester City fans. But we'll wait and see. But so they're trying to scrap the UEFA Champions League, the most famous European trophy there is. The one that Arsenal have never won it. We've got to a final against Barcelona in 2006 and lost, sadly. We were down to 10 men. We should have won the game, but that's the best we've ever done in it. But it's called Big Ears. It is my favourite trophy to look at. It's beautiful. And if that was to go, I don't know. And the Super League, I mean, come on. Can't you come up with something like a little bit better than that? The Super League. You know, and a lot of fans, yeah, this is true. A lot of fans are like, well, it's just a matter, you know, the NFL, right? They come and play at Wembley. They play at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. We know for a fact, this is nothing against America or any other foreign country, but we know that they're trying and shift at Arsenal, Tottenham, North London Derby over to New York one time, or the Madrid, Barcelona, El Clasico to bloody the Middle East, right? We don't want it. We want it in our own cities, in London, the North London Derby, the Manchester Derby in Manchester, Madrid in Madrid with Barcelona, Madrid, in the Catalan capital. We don't want our football polluted like this. And I'd say what, Florentino Perez is the main catalyst in this. Juventus doing it as well. When they've just been deducted 15 points for cheating, yeah, again, they're a dirty, rotten club, Juventus, the old lady. One of the most famous clubs in the world, but they're a stinking effing mess, in my opinion. They're a disgrace to football, yeah? And all these amazing clubs with amazing fans, right? They're being run by assholes, right? Who are jealous of English football because it has become so dominant financially. They can't handle it. So they're basically admitting it. They've all had digs at us, the way we've spent money. I mean, Southampton, they're in the relegation zone. They spent 100 million in the transfer market. Bournemouth, tiny club, 50 million. They've spent it just in the January window. It's mad. little clubs. Well, they're big clubs, but they're in the Premier League. They're quite small clubs compared to Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester United and stuff. They're spending fortunes that top clubs, big clubs in Spain and Italy, just they can't keep up with us. But someone said something interesting. You know, Europe should be grateful of English teams because we give them loads of money for their players. Overinflated transfer. I mean, you know, if it's a top player now, 100 million euros, 100 million pounds for a player who's worth 60, you've got to pay 40 million over the odds now. It's called Premier League tax. We used to call it the English tax because if there was an English player, he would get, if Arsenal wanted to, say, go and buy an Englishman, you know, a top English player, you'd have to pay double. because it's cool. And it's right, you know, Arsenal are interested in an English player this summer, Declan Rice, a defensive box-to-box midfielder, very talented. West Ham are wanting 100 million for him, but he's coming to the last year of his contract. We might get him for 75, 85 million, but still a lot of money. And, you know, he wants to play Champions League football and such forth. But I just think if they were to scrap the UEFA Champions League, the European Cup, I'd have to check the year it started. I mean, I think it was in the 1950s, early 50s. After World War II, it started, I think. I just think it's so sad the way these big clubs, Real Madrid, the most successful club in European history, they've got, I think it's 14 European Cups, 14 Champions Leagues. It's insane. You know, they're the current holders. They beat Liverpool in the final. You know, I just think it's really sad what's happening in football outside of England. You know, am I a fan of what Chelsea have done? Not really, because what they've done is overinflate the transfer market for the rest of us. They have. They've paid way over the odds for good players, but not great players. And, you know, it's made it more expensive for the rest of us. But they're like, well, you're Premier League, you've got loads of money. That's the way it's looked at now. So it is what it is. And, you know, Juventus, Barcelona, Real Madrid, especially Real Madrid, Florentino Perez is out. He doesn't give a shit. And I love the heritage of football. You know, it is a religion in my country. It is. I'm very worried and concerned where football's going to end up. Money is ruining the game. It really is. Anyway, what are your thoughts on this proposed Super League? They're on about 80 teams, right? So how many teams is that from England? 8, 10? That takes... To get in the European Cup from England, you've got to finish in the top 4 positions, right? Or win it. And then 5 teams could possibly go in, right? But if you were to put 8 to 10 teams, finish 10th and get in the Champions League, what? It takes the glamour of it away for me. It's not right. It's not right. I don't like it. It stinks. Anyway, have your say. And I'll see you later. Up the Arsenal.